Everyone, welcome to the Little Chess, and I'm presenting you a new clip for the Staunton chess group on chess.com, and it's one of my games which I finished I think today or yesterday, I'm not quite sure, and it was once again a Sicilian. And this game I would like to show you a practical example of how to exploit pins, which is a tactical motive, as same as the double attack, discover, check, attack, and so on, which you have to master in order to get strong in chess. It's very important, especially in over the board games. You will save a lot of time if you see these patterns immediately. And in this game I would like to show you some strategic guidelines, especially regarding double pawns, which you usually are taught to avoid by any means. But in a way I can show you that they can become very strong. Okay, so let's start the game. e4, c5, knight f3, and d6, and bishop b5, knight c3, 6, d4. Okay, this bishop b5 idea is quite common. Usually I also consider playing something like knight bd7, which Topalov recently played against Svidler, I think. But knight c6 leads to a line which I analyzed quite deeply, also with the help of the book Experts Against the Anti-Sicilian, I think, by Quality Chess. Okay, d4 is the main line, take. Now he's simply threatening to take on c6, so I defend. Bishop d7, okay, and he took, which is probably the first mistake, or let's say a dubious decision. If you take the position and look at the factors there, I mean, black has 2 developed pieces, white has also 2 developed pieces, but the main problem being that it's white to move, and he can, for instance, play knight c6, c3, so he has 3 pieces developed, and black is always at least a move behind in development, at least, and that's a big problem in a way. White has chance to exploit it after castle, for instance. He can play f4, e5, really trying to use his pieces, his better development in order to create certain problems for me. And so it's, especially in the Sicilian, in the first move you play, c5, does nothing for the development. The move e4 does, because it frees the bishop. And here I free my queen, but queen is free to go once I move e6 or g6 in a way. So this, in a way, you're already behind in development from move 1 on. So in this case, I always have to spend 1 move to free this bishop here, either g6, so dragon type position, or playing e6 and so on. Of course, I was just looking for this pawn here. But basically it's white who has the lead in development. But with this move here, he's exchanging one of his developed pieces against one of mine, which is in general not a big deal. But in that very case, I mean, okay, if I would take with the bishop, he takes, it's the same, you know. Almost both sides are undeveloped, and white can start again. Knight c3, bishop f4, or whatever, e3. Never mind, it's not important. But the point what I want to show you is that it's it's actually white who leads now in development. It's not that you have an advantage in development, but he leads it. He's the one who can first develop pieces and can earlier have more developed pieces. In this case, I'm taking the bishop, so he is forced to move. He goes back, and now if we take the position, we have both sides have 1 developed piece. This is the bishop. My bishop is maybe not a very good piece, but it's developed at least. And now it's black to move. So I can start with knight f6, for instance, as I did in the game. And suddenly, I wouldn't say I have big lead in development, because I always have to spend 1 move on this bishop here, but white's lead in development definitely is gone, which is one of his main trumps in the Open Sicilian. So in a way he deprived himself of one of his better options, let's say, and some opportunities. Okay, what's wrong with knight c6 despite the development issue? It strengthens my center. Okay, of course I get a split pawn here, which is an isolated pawn now, so it might turn out to be a weakness later on, but I have some ideas of pushing it, as I think I did in the last game which I presented to you. It's always an idea, you know, to in a way create a minority attack. I use my single pawn here to create a weakness, to exchange it off, so getting rid of my weakness, and then try to play against some new created weaknesses, maybe b2 pawn, something like this. Okay, so that's in a way also bad. It's knight bishop c4 and knight f6. I would say strategically, or let's say, it should be at least equal for black, because I have strong possibilities here in the center. I can play even e5 and then d5 immediately. But e5 I didn't like to play because knight c3 comes and d5 is still delayed, and then bishop g5 and everything is, you know, just deferred, and I didn't want it. So I decided to play another plan with e6, and e6 is just preparing this simple move here, d5. d5, then c5 later on, and I have a very powerful center, and then I would say black is definitely better. Okay, castle, immediately hitting the bishop, and okay, exchange it off, take the c pawn, and I have a central superiority in the game, which gives me some better prospects if it comes to maneuver and creating a passive. And with bishop b5, okay, offers some trades. I take it, because the knight on b5 is definitely exposed. And bishop c5 occupying a very active square, depriving white of any f3, f4 possibilities. Bishop g5, okay, looks very active, but it's not a threat. Castle. Queen f3, rook b8. Problem being, if he tries to exchange everything off, I just take. Okay, cannot allow take this pawn here, and he cannot allow that I damage the structure. So he takes it. Okay, now he has the problem of this knight here. Knight hangs, and protecting it with a4 doesn't help because of a6. And even if he goes there, I can just take this, and probably I could even first play rook takes c2. I don't think this passed pawn here is very dangerous, as I can simply hunt it down and yeah, can protect it. For instance, that's what I calculated during the game. So a4 doesn't help, and in the end this pawn is just hanging. Let me take this position here. He goes back, just hangs the pawn, something like this. I would say at least annoying for him. Okay. Good, so we have clear weaknesses detected, which is the b2 pawn and the c2 pawn. As it often happens, if you have some pawns on semi-open files, they can become weak. And especially if he tries to play something like b3, I can always play this hook here and create a weakness, another weakness. No, it's all about weaknesses. You have to attack something, so you need a weakness. Okay, rook b8, and he played a4, but okay, after a6, yeah, he tried to get the initiative by playing queen c3, but I saw a rather forced line which gives me simply a better endgame. Let's say a queenless middle game. Knight e4. Okay, problem being I attack the queen, defend my bishop, and attack this piece twice. So he has to react, and the only way is to play bishop takes d8. He took my queen, I have to take his one. And there was a line I saw, let me see. I think it was something like this. If he tries to play to be smart, you know, playing bishop c7, and hoping that, okay, if I move my rook, he can just take here, but probably I could just check him. He has to go. and now I can either take here, threatening to rescue my piece. So yes, take, take, and I can even take this one, yes, because the check here is dangerous. I just play g6 or g5, next move, and king g7, and then this bishop is free to go, taking further weaknesses. And yeah, the game would be over. But there's another possibility, just playing this one. And it leads to the same. I mean, the knight is hanging, the knight moves, the bishop is hanging, so he has to take it this way. I take it this way. No, I guess I'm just threatening to play bishop d4, taking the knight indirectly, also the pawn here, and with the bishop here I also attack this pawn, so he will definitely lose material, I think. So okay, he chose this variation, which is almost the same as we saw now, but I have some pressure against this pawn here. He cannot play b3 because it weakens some dark squares here, and after bishop d4 there's a pin you can't escape, and you probably would have to sacrifice it with a winning position for black. So rook a to b1, bishop d4, in a way just threatening to take, simplify, crush his structure, creating further weaknesses, and this endgame is totally lost for him. So knight d1. Okay, I have a certain pressure against this pawn here, but he has also some weaknesses. No, all three pawns are weak. At least now, if this pawn moves, this one becomes a weakness, and that's why I try to exploit rook d to c8. So after this, the pawn hangs. We have to react, c3, bishop f6, and it's not that easy. No, there are some ideas. I mean, in a way, this rook is unprotected, so I probably sometimes have ideas such as bishop takes c3. Of course, right now it's not possible and so on, but it's an idea that comes to mind. We always have to see that this rook is unprotected on b1. Okay, g3, rook c4, attacking the weakness, another weakness. He goes there. He is weakening this pawn, and after, I guess, just, yeah, probably rook c6. He has already difficulties defending it, he cannot move it, because otherwise the rook hangs. And I don't see any way he can protect it if he protects it like this. I take this pawn. Now this pawn is isolated and this one, so further weaknesses. Weaknesses are just in a way unprotected squares or pieces, pawns, whatever. Okay, a5 creates, in a way, also isolates this pawn because the way he tried to protect it doesn't work. I just take it here. And once again we have the tactical motive, which is a pin. And yeah, okay, if he takes, I guess, not surprising this is lost. I mean, yeah, especially this weakness here is in dark square, and a dark square, so it's a beautiful target from a bishop, and he cannot even move it. And wherever he tries to move this, I just take, and pick up the pawns with a winning game. My passed pawns will just march on. 93, I have to go back because the pin is broken. Now rook a to b, rook b to c, rook c8, so shifting the base. Now I go for this backward pawn, which is a weakness in itself. c4, okay, yeah, trying to get rid of it. I took, but the pawn first is still weak. Takes, and okay, I'm just 2 pawns up, and converting the material advantage was not that dangerous. I just have to pay attention to some back rank mates. Now he thought he was smart in attacking both my pieces, the bishop and the pawn, but I have another weakness. They have 2 pawns. To be honest, I wasn't sure if this wasn't even more precise, because I'm just threatening, let's say if you move somewhere, I just mate. And the only way to escape it is probably to go back. Okay, you can try to sacrifice this one, but yeah, okay, it's not a forced mate, but you will definitely lose material. So there, play e5 calmly. I don't mind knight c6, which I saw, because simplifications just eases my task. F5, so advancing my pawn so that I can promote them much quicker. I take this pawn, takes. Better was to take it this way, after which I would exchange it off, because the king is now once closer to the pawns, which doesn't change the evaluation, but in a way, it's better technique. If you do as you shouldn't do is best, because it might open some possibilities to draw maybe. And in this variation, the king is one move behind, and this gives me some options. Okay, here I thought the most stubborn one was rook c3, so which I was planning this one. If he moves there, I can just give a check, deprive him. Now the king is cut off. I just move on, go there, and pick up the pawn, or maybe just create a passer and then move one of my pawns here, and he cannot stop it. So king e5, okay, rook takes, king takes, rook f3. There's even a small mating net, which we can show you. So it would be also nice. Otherwise, if he goes back, just over, give a check. Okay, fine. But I will just advance my pawns and pieces, and it's I think Mark Dvoretsky wrote in his endgame manual, one of the best books on endgames you can get. What's it? Elevator? Is it right? I'm not quite sure if that's the right word for it. I think it's elevator. No, never mind. I guess because it's technique, you go one level per level, you just advance these pawns until the queen, and they can not do anything. King e5, king g6, okay, go there. And here he resigned because it's okay, you cannot do anything. I mean, okay, I cannot advance this one because then I think it's even lost. But I can first remove my rook. It's very important that the king does not participate here, and it's just a king and 2 pawns, and this is decisive. Okay, let's say if he stays there, I just advance my pawn, so he has to protect it. I go there, and I don't know, what does he want? If he goes there, attack, I just move it, and I'm just threatening to play king h2, and then this pawn cannot be stopped. Good technique, not just preventing everything, and you cannot do much. Let's just toll around here. Now it's making a few moves. Typical technique. Mating with 2 heavy pieces, always giving some checks and depriving him of space, and this was the game. Okay, well, that's why after h5 he resigned. Okay, I hope I could show you something. Some strategic ideas which were not so great, which just gave black options, which I used immediately, d5, getting a nice central pawn dominance, and okay, my lead in development, for instance, and even that if it inflicts some double pawns, it's not necessarily dangerous. Of course, my structure is not great, but I have certain piece pressure, and now in a way these double pawns are also useful, because I then have 3 pawns which I can move on forward and maybe even promote somehow. And yeah, so if you have any questions, again, just write in the forum or message me or whatever. And yeah, okay. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, would be great. Okay, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.